Hello friends, welcome back to my channel Dr. Siva's vlog. This is Dr. Siva here. In this video, we are going to see Management Unit 1 Part 2. The topics covered in this unit are communication, its types, process, and barriers to communication. Decision making, concept, process, techniques, and tools of decision making. Organizational structure and designs, types, authority, responsibility, centralization, decentralization, and span of control. Now, communication. Communication is the act of transferring information from one place to another, one person to another person, or group to another group. Every communication usually involves one sender, a message, and a recipient. It is a process of creating and sharing ideas, informations, views, and facts. Importance of communication. Communication is very important and vital for survival of human beings. In organizations, communication is key to directing function of management. A manager, however qualified, experience, and skills and abilities he may possess, but if he is poor in communication, that all his knowledge, ability, educational qualification, everything go waste. Communication process. Communication is a continuous process which usually consists of three elements. One is sender, second message, and receiver. The sender or the communicator usually sends a message which the receiver receives is. Second is a message. It is the information, idea, facts, feelings that is sent by the sender. Encoding. The message generated by the sender is encoded symbolically, such as in the forms of words, pictures, gestures, etc. Then they need to have a medium to communicate or transmit all these things. The medium of communication includes like telephone, internet, fax, email, etc. Which medium is suitable is decided by the sender. Decoding, it is a process of converting the symbols encoded by the sender. After decoding, the message is received by the receiver. Communication process also involves receiver. Here the person who is receiving the message sent by the sender. Once the receiver receives the message, he has to understand the message from the perspective of the sender. Once this is done, then communication is successful. Then feedback. Once the receiver receives a message, he conveys to the sender that he received the message and he understand this message. Then only the whole communication process is complete. Noises. Usually this communication process will be disturbed by so many things like a faulty telephone or a noisy place. So this has to be avoided. The next topic is types of communications. Types of communication involves formal and informal as well as verbal and non-verbal. Formal communication is mostly used in an office setting like during the meetings, conference, etc. Usually it happens between a superior or subordinate or a employee with another employee in the same level. It has to be done in a very professional and official manner. When someone address the superior, they have to use the job title like a manager, supervisor, etc. Informal communication is opposite to the formal one. Here people usually communicating in a very casual manner. They may use slang and not necessary to use job titles. So this will help in building a relationship. The next one is a verbal communication. When using verbal communication, it is a word of mouth or it is also written communication. Communication expert advise that it should be short and simple. That is called KISS method. Non-verbal communication, it refers to the gestures, body language, facial expression. Very important is eye contact, posture, etc. So in official settings or in formal communication, one has to take care of the body language, because according to experts 60% of the communication happens through body language. Also consider tone of voice, which is also a non-verbal, which gives a clue that whether a person is happy or angry. Now we see communication barriers. There are various barriers which we'll be seeing only, the most important one, like language barriers. Language is a very important one. The language used by the sender may not be understood by the receiver. That may be a barrier. Sometimes they use jargons or a technical terminologies, like a doctor use medical terms while describing a disease or something which may not be understood by the patients. So these are kinds of language barriers. State of mind is very very important, which becomes a major barrier, which is called emotional barrier. If the receiver or the sender is very angry or upset, then this will definitely affect the quality of communication. Next one is a physical barrier. The environment in which the message is communicated or received also affects it. If, yeah, like a theater, very noisy theater, then the receiver or sender may not able to communicate properly. Geographical distance is also a barrier to the communication. Sometimes a very far distance, a person has to shout, or the other person in the other end may not hear properly. Next topic, decision making. Decision making is defined as the act of choosing one alternative from among a set of alternatives. It has been identified one of the important and vital responsibility of a manager. Manager has to take decisions to solve problems and utilize any opportunities arising in the organizations. The success of the organization mainly depends upon the decision making of the manager. Decision making also involves allocating resources, introducing new products and services. Now, decision making process. There are 7 steps in the decision making process. The first one is identifying the decisions. Manager, in order to make a decision, must identify the problem that need to be solved or the question need to be answered. Example, say a manager in a factory, he observes that the employee turnover has increased by 20%. Step 2, the manager has to collect relevant information. Once the problem situation is identified, he need to gather relevant information. It can be an internal assessment, gathering informations from the employees who are involved in that, and also from the external sources like surveys, marketing, research. Again, example, managers gather information regarding employee turnover from the workers, supervisors, and also look for information from the market surveys for a high employee turnover in the related. Step 3, identify the alternatives. With all the relevant information at hand, manager has to identify the possible solution to the problem at hand. This usually should have more than one choice to try. Example, the factory manager decided to increase the wages, increase benefit, or change hiring methods. Assess the alternative is the fourth step. Each alternative is evaluated to determine which one is possible or feasible. Now identify the potential drawbacks for each and every alternatives and weigh them against the possible rewards. Example, increasing the benefits may not be feasible because it's quite time consuming. Uh, Increasing wages and changing hiring standards may satisfy all conditions. Step 5, choose the best alternatives that suits the situation. Example, changing hiring standards will take more time, so the manager decided to increase the wages. Step 6, implement the chosen alternatives. Once the decision is made, it has to be implemented. Example, the factory manager may need permission from the head office. The human resource department establish a new wage structure. Step 7, evaluate your decision. Once the decision is implemented, look whether the implemented decision has solved the problems or answered the questions. If so, it has solved the problem, the manager has to record it for future reference. If there is a Mistake, then he has to start the decision making process again. Example, the factory manager finds that 5 months later turnover has dropped to his previous level. Decision making techniques. Some common decision making techniques are brainstorming, Delphi technique, marginal analysis, cost benefit analysis. First technique, brainstorming. Brainstorming involves a group of people who are related to that work or the issue concern. Usually, number of people should be 5 to 10 sitting around a table. It should be in a classroom setting or arrangement. The main focus of this technique is getting more and more ideas rather than digging into the quality. Quantity is very important, and there is no one to criticize the ideas. It's the matter of just collecting more and more ideas, and each participant is encouraged to improve or modify other participants suggestions. Electronic brainstorming allows groups members to propose ideas by means of email or online posting. The second technique, Delphi technique. Here, this is similar to the brainstorming technique, but the participants are separated physically and usually they are unknown to each other. Here, the problem handled by the techniques are not specific in nature, they are very particular at a given situation. For example, like doctors, they get the reference from different specialists, say for a cancer, and what needs to be done, how the diseases need to be treated, and all these informations are collected from different specialists, and a particular coordinator will assign all this information and make a consolidated report, and they started analyzing this technique. Marginal analysis. Marginal analysis is an examination of the additional benefits of an activity compared to the additional cost incurred by the same activity. This tool is to increase the potential profits. Marginal analysis can only predict what happens, say, if a company hires one extra worker or produces one additional product or allocate additional space for R&D and so forth. It states that production is only beneficial for a firm when marginal revenues exceeds marginal cost, and it is most beneficial when the difference is largest. Next technique, cost benefit analysis. Cost benefit analysis includes adding up the benefits of a course of action and then comparing these with the costs associated with it. First, list all the expected costs which are associated with the project and then come up with the benefits that we will receive from it. Now we can carry out an analysis using only the financial cost and benefit. This one is benefit for making a quick and simple financial decisions or when you want to decide to hire a new team member. The next topic is organizational structure and design. Organizational structure is the formal authority, power, and roles in an organization. Usually, organizational structures are classified as functional organizational structure, divisional organizational structure, matrix organizational structure, and flat organizational structure. Usually, the type of this organizational structure is decided based on the organization's size, product or services they are in, the type of business they are in, and the resources they are having. So, depending upon this, they decide the type of organizational structure. First, functional organizational structure. Here, the employees who are doing the similar task are grouped together based on their area of specialization, say like accountants or marketing people are placed in the respective department like accountants, finance department, etc. The advantage is it helps in quick decision making. Since they are in a group, they can easily communicate. They can also learn from each other since they already possess the similar skill sets and interest. For better understanding, see the organizational chart given in this slide. Second one, divisional structure. Here, the structure is based on the products, organization groups employees into teams based on products or projects that meet the needs of a certain type of customer. For example, a bakery with a catering operation might structure the workforce based on a customer type such as wedding department and a wholesale retail department. In divisional structure, workers making same products can achieve greater efficiency and higher output. 3. Matrix structure. A matrix structure is a combination of functional and divisional structures. It groups the people into a functional departments of specialization, then further separates them into divisional projects and products. In matrix structure, the team members are given more freedom. Once the freedom is given, they will be taking responsibilities. This in turn increases the productivity of the team, and great innovation and creativities are happening in the team. This also allows the managers to cooperatively solve the problems through decision makings. It is suitable for large companies that have resources to devote to manage a complex business frame. Number 4, flat organizational structure. Flat organizational structure actually breaks the traditional top down management system which most of the companies follow now. In this kind of organizations, the day to day task or decision making process are given to the employees so that fast and effective decisions are taken in an efficient manner. So each employee is their own boss. This removes the bureaucracy and red tape and helps in improving the direct communication between the staff and the subordinate. Span of control. Span of control means the number of subordinates that can be managed efficiently and effectively by a superior in an organization. Say, like you are a manager, how many people you can monitor and supervise directly. That is called span of control. It suggests how the relations are designed between a superior and a subordinate in an organization. Centralization. It is a process of transferring and assigning decision making authority to a higher level of an organization hierarchy. The span of control of top managers is relatively broad, and there are relatively many tiers in the organization. In centralized organization, you have to get permission from your boss, immediate boss, for each and everything you do. Decentralization. It is a process of transferring and assigning decision making authority to a lower level of an organizational hierarchy. Here, the span of control of top managers is very small and they are relatively few tiers in the organization. To understand decentralization, I will give you a classic example. Say, if you are a waiter in a restaurant, in order to attract the customer, you can give a free salad if you want. No need to take the permission from the boss. That is called decentralized structure. So that is the beauty of decentralized organization. Now we have come to the end of the chapter. To sum up, communication is simply the act of transferring information from one place, person or group to another. It is a continuous process which usually consists of three elements: sender, message and receiver. Language, physical and emotional are some common barriers to communication. Decision making is the act of choosing one alternative from among a set of alternatives. Some common decision making techniques are brainstorming, Delphi technique, marginal analysis, and cost benefit analysis. Organizational structure is the formal authority, power, and roles in an organization. Organizational structures are classified as functional, divisional, matrix, and flat organizational structure. Span of control means the number of subordinates that can be managed efficiently and effectively by a superior in an organization. If you find this video interesting and informative, please subscribe to my channel for more useful and interesting videos. Dr. Siva's vlog. Thank you. Bye. Take care. God bless.